Make the top 50 list for us.
My turn?
Your turn.
All right, back to Germany we go. And oh no, the boys that love the controversial album covers, Scorpions. Scorpions had a huge hit with Blackout the year before, or 2 years prior. This was a highly anticipated album by metal fans. They were wanting more Scorpions. And this is really the album that broke them, I think.
It definitely
broke them
States.
huge.
Rocky Like a Hurricane was on MTV constantly.
And it's become an iconic, kind of like a...
Oh, yeah.
It's something that people make fun of when they talk about heavy metal.
But then again, it's the same thing. You can't go to a hockey game or a football game where they don't play that song.
Right, exactly. It's become common.
It's become that iconic. Kind of like We Will Rock You by Queen. You know?
Exactly. But the whole album's good, and it's strong, and it holds up. Still Loving You was a huge ballad in the era when ballads were the moneymakers, really. There's not a bad song on here. It's all good stuff. It's just, once the jocks got a hold of it in high school, it kind of got played to death. Yeah.
They still had their own sound, a very iconic sound. I mean, Klaus Meine, nobody sounds like him.
No.
And it's very German.
Yep.
I mean, Klaus Meine, Udo Dirkschneider, and a few other guys. You just knew it.
Yeah, it was a
snarl.
There's a commonality there. Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yep.
It's good stuff.
Great. This is a censored cover,
which was I think that's the inside
photograph. Yeah. I never did understand what it was. I guess because it showed a little side boob or something. I don't know.
Well, she is kind of sitting in his lap.
Whatever.
In a certain way, and she might be wearing those special underwear that you got at Spencer's.
The edible kind.
Or maybe they're wearing the fundies. The underwear that's fun to wear. The two-person undies. I don't know. You can see the side of her breast.
Is there a song on here that wasn't popular? Oh yeah, I guess there's a couple. Big Bad Boys Running Wild was definitely popular. Big Stick Nights was popular.
Crossfire wasn't a huge one. That's one of the deeper cuts.
Coming Home was pretty well known.
Same
Still
Thrill
was really known.
Same Thrill is kind of an unknown.
But, I don't know. It's for me. If I was to put the Scorpion albums in order, this would not make my top 10.
Oh hell no!
But
this is the last, to me, the last great Scorpions album.
No,
but even then, it was still.
And they have some good songs and some good albums after this. It's just those other albums are just.
Well, the glory days are long past.
Yeah, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
and I know you share the same opinion. So
yeah,
but I still, like I said, I like this album. It deserves to be in the top 50.
Hell yeah! It's a seminal metal album for the '80s for sure.
Another one of those EPs.
This is a great EP.
I mean, let's see. In 1983, we had Kill 'Em All and Show No Mercy. And those were pretty much the two.
Was Show No Mercy in '83 as well, or was that '84?
No, it was '83. They showed it. Yeah. In '84, we had Haunting the Chapel EP.
Gotta get something else out, man.
A 3-song EP, but it was awesome.
It is awesome.
It was 3 songs.
In fact, I liked this better than Show No Mercy. I much more enjoyed.
The production was just wicked. I mean, so raw and heavy.
Yep.
So we got Chemical Warfare, Captor of Sin, and you can't
Haunting the Chapel.
I can't even say Captor of Sin without that chorus. Captor of Sin. It's just there.
Winds of hell burn in my wake. Death is what you pray. Behold, Captor of Sin.
This is actually a repressing. It also has the Metal Massacre song on here. Aggressive Perfector on it, which is cool. I'm glad they put it. It deserves to have 4 songs.
Yeah, for sure.
Now this is a cool record. I just recently.
This is a real recent reissue, isn't it?
The very recent reissue, and I've seen other people show this, but this is what.
Oh. I just got something when you showed me that. I was like, I get it now.
This is Blood Splatter.
I know. We won't go down that road, but there's a issue here, and that's all right.
Blood Splatter.
You want to talk about it?
Nah.
You sure you don't need to talk about
it? No, I'm
good. All right. we'll cover that in another show. But just know the guilty parties are being punished as we speak.
There's also this is this actually has a picture, well, sort of picture sleeve, lyric sleeve, whatever. But yeah, great EP. Another one that's definitely worth being in the top 50 for that year.
Slayer's not a band that I listen to very often, but when I'm in the mood for them, nothing else really will do.
This first 2 albums and this EP and the live EP that's not really live.
Oh, Live Undead?
Yeah.
That was the album that got me into them.
Oh, they're awesome.
I didn't want anything to do with Slayer. Again, they had the big Satan in your face.
Evil.
Yeah. And then it never failed. A friend would have it. He'd be playing it. I didn't know what it was. Like, what is this? This is cool. Oh, it's Slayer. I don't want to listen to Slayer. Yeah, I know. I'm a freak. Whatever.
Oh, this next album is...
Oh, yeah.
They always say that live albums are the end of an era for a band.
This most definitely.
And this is definitely... Speaking of new wave of British heavy metal, and a band we've actually mentioned a few times already.
Yep. Raven.
Raven.
Live at the Inferno. Live at the Inferno.
Exactly.
You gotta get that little phlegm in the back of your throat so you sound like John.
And almost lose your voice.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is an awesome live album.
It is.
It so sums up those first 3 albums and that whole new wave of British heavy metal. Nobody sounded like them.
And I mean, how ballsy is it for a new wave of British heavy metal band? Pretty small time still. Double album on Megaforce. Who did that at that point?
At this point, they had already signed with Atlantic, and this was their finish it all with Neat Records.
Awesome.
So
awesome. And this one's actually on Megaforce, so this is the American one.
American pressing, yeah.
I interviewed John Gallagher in '87 when I was in college in upstate New York at Cortland State University. And we were talking about this record, and the one question I had for him, I was just like, John, what the hell is Igarbo? What does that stand for? IGARBO. There's a bass solo on here. Then it's the initials, IGARBO. What the hell is that?
Do you know? I think you told me, but I can't remember. I should know since they're one of
he's got a wicked thick English accent going on, and I'm sure it's a specialized area that I don't know about. But he goes, oh, it stands for I've got a rampant boner on. And I'm like, that is so awesome. It's the best bass solo title ever. Best title ever, period. Jeez. I've got a rampant boner on. I never would have friggin' figured that one out.
Yeah. Is that a gatefold? Yeah, it is.
It is.
I think there's a photo on the inside.
I think it's is it a collage maybe? The thing was kind of, I had the shirt too. I had the shirt of this, and I wore it to death.
It's got the live. That right there. That's what I remember.
Explosion.
I've seen Raven live, and they were just incredible back in the 80s.
Awesome.
And they did. Their sound changed, way changed after this.
Yep.
Even Stay Hard, which was still very good, but like we were talking about earlier, but the production.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, they took the songs that.
And they know it.
And they cleaned them up too much. And they even did a song from the first album. They redid
Hard Ride.
Yeah. And it was just, what happened here?
What happened to Hard Ride, man? That song was brutal.
Right, and all of a sudden, you lost something, and it was because...
And the thing that was cool about Raven, and I still respect them to this day, is they knew it. They knew they fucked up. And they knew that they had bowed to the pressure.
Which is why they came out with the
EP, and it was mad. It was back to Raven, the Raven.
Because they were pissed off.
Yep.
They were pissed.
They were pissed at themselves, I think, for falling for it.
Part of it, and I've read interviews with them, and I've actually had discussions on Facebook with John Gallagher, and what he basically says is they did cave into the label pressure, but the label promised them certain things.
Right.
Where you need to do this, 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 and this, and when you do these things, we're going to do this for you. And none of that stuff happened. So basically, they did what they didn't really want to do for label pressure, and then the label threw it to the side anyhow.
Which alienated much of their fan base.
Yeah, their core base. Yeah,
like, we love you guys. What the hell are you doing?
Right, the core fan base, because the label promised them this whole new fan base, which wasn't there for them. Because
it never came. No, and I think I didn't even buy those 2 albums when they came out. It's like the Live at the Inferno was the last one I bought, and I remember when Pack Is Back came out, and it's like, what the hell?
I bought Stay Hard, and I thought, man, it's the it's just,
which one was first, Pack Is Back or Stay Hard?
Stay Hard.
It was? Okay. Well, one of the 2.
And then Pack Is Back came out, like, oh, what is this? Why do we got horns in here? And why are we doing Spencer Davis covers? And anyhow,
it's a great song, but I don't know, Raven doing it. I don't know.
It was just really weird. I mean, they did a Sweet cover and they rocked it, right?
Oh yeah, they did a couple Sweet covers. They did Hellraiser and they did Action. They kicked ass on them.
All right, this next one, another EP. And this is actually, there's more than one pressing. I think this is the second pressing. This is the more common pressing of this one. And
is that mine or yours?
This is mine.
Yours. Okay.
And this is Saint.
Warriors of the Sun.
Warriors of the Sun.
Which has been re-recorded, what, twice since then?
It's been re-recorded. And I still like this one, again, with the production.
Yeah. Saint is one of the few bands in the Christian metal realm that their stuff always held up. They had they were kind of Judas Priest clones at first.
Yeah, that's what everybody said, and I get that.
It was
Josh
similar
Kramer's
enough.
voice.
It was similar enough.
Yeah,
but it was decent because they did what Judas Priest did. They did a similar formula, I guess is what you should say.
But I mean, and I'm so tired of people say,
formula.
all those bands are just clones. How many, every freaking band gets called, Aerosmith was called a Rolling Stones clone.
Queen too, which is odd. I don't get that one.
Cinderella was called an Aerosmith clone. I mean, you know what I mean? It's just, Guns N' Roses was called an Aerosmith clone at first.
People have their influences, I get it.
Yeah, exactly. And
I mean, then you have other people that sound exactly like certain other singers, unabashedly, and, they deserve it. I won't name any names.
Look at the pictures in the back, though, man. These guys are young. I mean, there's no epic mustaches because they weren't even old enough to grow epic mustaches.
Damn! Look at their babies in this shot.
Yeah, look at Richard Lynch, man. Remember Richard? Look how young he is. Anyhow, these guys are also. These guys have been, especially Josh Kramer.
They're still putting out stuff.
Yeah, Josh Kramer. He's actually a buddy of mine. He became a buddy of mine years later. You guys did shows with him, or did no? Ultimatum did.
That was the
we
year
did a show with him. And matter of fact,
the Tychus 2.0 did.
Matter of fact, Ultimatum guitarist Robert Gutierrez filled on a guitar for one show for these guys.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, because they needed a second guitar player. They couldn't get the second guitar player for Up From the Ashes 2, and Robert filled in for this. He only played rhythm, didn't play any lead, just played rhythm for
Up From the Ashes 2 is the one I missed. I didn't go.
Anyhow, very good, straightforward, heavy metal, galloping riffs.
Yep, Saint's a good
heavy rhythm section, and very Priest-esh vocals.
Yep, very.
Very good album. Worth picking up. Even if you're like really against like the Striperish rock for the rock, the lyrics aren't like that.
No, they're not. Saint is a different animal than Striper was.
Just listen to the names of the songs. You got Plan 2, Legions of the Dead, Abyss, Warriors of the Sun, Vicars of Fate, and Time's Wasting.
Yeah,
I mean, it just doesn't sound the same as like a lot of the pop metal bands were doing. And so
no, I mean Striper was heavy sounding. They had the real upfront lyrics, but they still had the more commercial edge. These guys were metal.
Yeah,
they really were metal for sure.
Yep. You're up.
Oh, yeah, another EP. Great EP. I love this one.
I don't have this one.
You don't?
No, I have it on CD.
I have it on CD also. Love this when it came out. Obsession, Martial Law. It was just like a bunch of nobodies. Mike Vicera went on to do something else.
He went on to play with Yngwie. Did he sing for Loudness for a while?
Yes, he did sing for Loudness for a while. Not really sure about any of these other guys, but they were just leather and spikes metal. And they were just kind of like out of nowhere, Metal Blade artists in the early days of the label. And it's just great guitar-oriented, priestish, rock and roll metal.
It's a little heavier than Priest, though.
Yeah, it was.
I remember back in the day, this kind of stuff was called U.S. power metal.
So bands like Exciter was playing that kind of metal.
Yeah, because it was like fast and heavy, but it wasn't thrash.
Right, exactly. And it still had the more melodic vocals as well. They still were in the heavy metal camp. They hadn't quite crossed over. These are like this is like
long,
the mid period.
Yeah. And this is long before the whole European flowery power metal stuff with the
that's
Dungeons and Dragons keyboards, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, what power metal was back then, it was just had emphasis on heavy guitars.
Yes, you could put this with like Metal Church, Heretic,
again, Exciter.
Yeah, Exciter.
That kind of stuff.
That kind of stuff, yeah.
Great band, Obsession. They went on to do a couple more.
This one almost didn't make the cut. It was a last minute add back in.
It's all right. Good band, great
band. This is actually the album that I discovered this band on, and apparently Randy did too. Randy's actually the guy who hooked me up with this album. How long ago did we meet? It's 15 years.
2002. We've known each other for, almost 15 years.
Yeah. So back in the day,
man,
we both started collecting records. When he started collecting records again, he picked up a copy of this for me and for himself. This is Mama's Boys.
Yeah.
Now, new wave of British heavy metal sounding. They're obviously not a UK band. They're an Irish band.
Right.
But
the thing with these guys, it's a trio of brothers, a power trio of brothers, the McManus brothers.
The Irish Powers trio, yeah.
They had a song, I first saw them on MTV, when MTV played, they'd play oddball stuff every now and then, be like, wow, like Killing Joke, oh my god,
right.
Who's these guys? They did a cover of Mama We're All Crazy Now by Slade.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the same year that Quiet Riot did, their cover of it. Their cover was so much better. But Quiet Riot was huge by that point, and they just completely
And it's funny, in recent years I've mentioned Mama's Boys on Facebook and different places, and people go, oh yeah, they're that band that tried to do the Quiet Riot song, and we're all crazy, and I'm like, first of all...
In fact, I think theirs came out first.
They came out the same year, so there wasn't no internet back then.
No.
So it wasn't like they were calling each other saying, hey, let's do the same song. You know?
Well, once Quiet Riot came out, you never heard this version again.
No. And it's unfortunate, because it's a great
cover. Great version.
Runaway Dreams is on here, and I love that song. This band incorporated violins into their sound. And that was very unique.
Yep, they did.
At the time. And then,
I don't know what happened to them, but they were a neat band. They put out a couple of records and then just disappeared.
Lonely Soul is a heavy blues track on here. Heavy, like, Deep Purple kind of blues.
And look, you know that he took this cue from Nigel Tufnell.
Oh, yes.
His guitar solo. He's got the violin while he's playing guitar.
He's playing
just
solo.
like Nigel did.
Yeah.
So you think Spinal Tap isn't in everything that you hear?
See, obviously right in this photo right here, he's playing his Popsy solo.
His Popsy solo.
Iron Maiden, remember that?
I don't.
The Nico thing where he's yelling at the drum.
Oh, Mission from Mary?
Mission from Mary, and he's all, when did we Popsy drum solo?
I was just telling someone about that today. I was like, they're asking for Iron Maiden recommendations. I was like, this, and this, and oh yeah, listen to this B-side called Mission from Area. It's hilarious.
Oh, so I'm the cunt.
Some cunt's recording this.
And no, you're not the cunt.
Years later, I hear that it was a goof. That Bruce Dickinson kind of set the whole thing up.
Oh, really?
It wasn't. I guess
was it for real?
Yeah.
Well, it's funny.
Well, no. Bruce he knew he was recording it.
Oh.
And he kind of made the whole. He got
the
whole thing. He got the whole thing wound up. So Nico probably didn't know about it. But
and right at the end of it, oh, that's recording this. Anyhow, we got totally off. Woo! Went off track there. Anyhow, Mama's Boys. This was their third, fourth album. I can't remember which one it is now. They had a couple like the
Wasn't
early.
this the first one?
No, like the early independent new wave British heavy metal bands. They were self-releasing things. They had an album called Plug It In that came out on a small indie label. Then got picked up by another indie label with a different cover.
The only ones I remember, this one, they had one called Crazy EP. And was there one where like there was a girl draped across a throne or something?
Yes, that came out after this one.
Okay.
They put out 2 or 3 after this, but after this they started getting more commercial in their sound and looking for the hits, singles. And I can understand if they were trying to make a living at it, but
and they were pretty young.
And there just wasn't as raw as this and back.
Yeah.
So anyhow,
good stuff, really good stuff.
Top 50, 1984. Mama's Boys, Irish Power Trio.
Yeah, no doubt. Irish Power Trio with violin. All right. This album, I don't know, when I bought this I felt like I was all like cutting edge. I was like, I was into imports, but it's like, wow, these guys are really imports. Loudness. Disillusion, album number 4. And most of the well, actually I think this one was in English, but there was a German version, a Japanese version.
Yeah, there's 2 versions of it.
I can't remember which was which, but all I remember hearing was Akira Takasaki is the Japanese Eddie Van Halen, and you got to hear Exploder. It's just like Eruption. Well, yeah, it kind of is, but this is it's exotic. It's an exotic metal album because they're Japanese guys playing heavy metal, and they weren't really trying to be American yet.
Nah.
They did that later, and they kind of lost that special thing that they had. But this was kind of the last album where they still were a bunch of Japanese guys playing heavy metal.
To me, I always describe this album and back, they were a Japanese band playing Judas Priest.
Kinda. Yeah. But there's a little bit of Maiden thrown in there too.
Yeah. 70s Priest though, not like you know.
Yeah, exactly. Great album. I don't think there's a song in here I don't like. Crazy Doctor, great song. Esper is a real kind of a ball buster. Butterfly is a kind of their attempt at an odd kind of ballad. It's just a good one. Exploder, like I said, it's a massive guitar solo where some of the first 8-finger tapping stuff is going on, like long before it became common. Great stuff.
I always like the cover on that one too.
Yeah, it's just kind of like a painting. It
is, and you got the Warrior, and that's very metal to begin with, but there's something ominous about it.
It's got these splotches of red, and it looks like blood. And on the back, they're green. And
yeah,
it's just.
It
looks like
cover.
Some kind of Japanese artist of a samurai. I don't know. It just makes it a very classy looking album. And their first 3 were a little bit goofy, with the devil child soldier guy.
He kept coming out of an egg, and then
yeah. So this one was a whole lot different. It harkened back to it, but it just had a little more.
Maybe that's the guy who killed the devil child.
or it's the Devil Child and he like left hell and became a samurai.
All right, this next band released 2 albums the same year.
Oh, my favorite.
Randy wanted one, I wanted the other, so we're just going to show them both.
He's using "wanted" in a very broad definition.
I'll just leave it. Let him say that. Well, he only really likes one song by them, and this is it. But my favorite album by this band, MANOWAR, "Hail to England." First of all, that is such a metal cover. Absolutely love that cover.
It's not quite as metal as the Greasy. Never mind.
Hail,
I'll leave him alone.
Hail to England.
This is the one that has the black arrows of death, right?
Hail. Yes. May each note I now play be a black arrow of death to all those who play false metal. It's a bass solo. It's just crazy.
Hey Joey, where are my pills, man?
I love this record.
I just saw some friggin' quote that he made the other day. It was something stupid about the mafia or something.
If you want to talk about like satanic lyrics, like we can talk about like bands like Merciful Fate, we said Slayer. This album
they totally do.
This one here, you got Black Arrows and Bridge of Death. I mean,
and it's like what?
It's almost like.
I remember hearing a story that I think Merciful Fate toured with MANOWAR, and King Diamond was so offended by them that he put some kind of curse on them or something.
I mean, it's just almost comical.
Because they weren't into Satanism. They were not even close to that crap. And
no, it was all metal!
Right.
You know?
So
metal or die.
And I think King Diamond was literally offended by it.
Well, I mean,
he was into it.
Because he was, it was his religion, really.
Right.
But anyhow, I love this record. This is my favorite MANOWAR record. And Randy has...
All right, this is not my favorite MANOWAR album.
It just has the only song you liked by MANOWAR on it.
Sign of the Hammer. Sign of the Hammer came out in '84. And the song I dug was All Men Play on 10. It was the first time I heard them. I'd heard of them. This was before me giving them the chances that I gave them. I heard this one. It's goofy enough that I really dug it. All Men Play on 10. All right, that's cool. It's a good metal anthem.
Again, but now we can talk about Spinal Tap again, because they play on 10, but MANOWAR plays on 11.
Spinal Tap plays on 11, right.
11,
So
yeah.
MANOWAR almost
made it, yeah.
So I've got the 12-inch here for...
and that's cool. I didn't have that.
Yeah. The 12-inch of All Men Play on 10 with this B-side is Mountains. I don't even think I know another song.
Oh, come on. You can't not like a song called Thunder Pick.
I thought it said Thunder Prick at first. I'll have to listen to that one. Thunder Pick, really?
Yeah.
Now Ross the Boss.
Ross the Boss is a great guitar player.
He was from the Dictators, right?
Okay. And then he went on to play with, he's played in a lot of different bands afterwards. But
yeah, I knew that. And then there's Joey DeMaio's the bass player. It's basically his band, right?
Yeah, him and Eric Adams.
Eric's the singer? Okay.
Yeah.
You know, if MANOWAR made music that was funnier, I think I'd like them more. But to me, it's like they totally believe everything. They believe their own hype. That's why they bug me. I'm sorry.
I'm not my favorite band, but I do like the early MANOWAR stuff.
I really like All Men Play on 10. Did I mention that?
But the thing about it is that here they were playing metal, and you can't. I mean, this is metal.
Oh hell yeah!
Now, in more recent years, they're playing like orchestras and choir, and it's like.
So they're trying to get into the whole flower power metal thing. Huh. And
they are more popular in Europe than here. So.
True. I got to bust myself here too. I was supposed to listen to Into Glory Ride because it was one of the '83 albums that we did, and I had to admit I'd never heard that particular one. I'd heard battle hymns, I'd heard All Hail to England, I'd heard Kings of Metal, Kings of the World, whatever it's called. But I'd never heard Into Glory Ride, and I was supposed to listen to it before we got back together, which is like 6 months ago now. It feels like.
Been a while.
And I blew it. I forgot. I found a copy. I just never listened to it. So again, I'll put the same thing out there, and I'll give that one another shot. Okay, but this is it for MANOWAR. I'm not giving them any other chances. I'm only doing it for you.
Hi, this next band is
a total mystery to me.
Now this is, I'll be honest, this is a recent discovery for me, but I like it so much I had to include it on this list. This is a German band. This is Mad AXEMAN, and this is the only full-length album they ever released. The same year that this single or 12-inch EP, whatever you want to call it, was released, and the single was Hellraiser, which of course is...
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
It's the Sweet song?
Yep, look who wrote it.
Chapman and Chin, I don't know who they are.
Yep, those are the guys who wrote most of the early Sweet stuff.
Oh, I didn't recognize those names as being sweet.
Yep.
I was going to say, oh, cool, Sweet song, but then the album,
that is a Sweet song.
The names didn't sound the same. Oh, that's cool. Great song. Now I want to hear it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good. And the vocalist, again, they got this kind of, I don't want to say he sounds like Udo or Klaus Meine, but he has that German snarl. That's one of the things I liked about him, but they're also really heavy, and they look goofy. I mean...
And this is 84?
This is 84.
Huh.
And they obviously got the priest thing going on. I mean, look at the pictures.
Yeah, and the guy's got the striped jeans on.
Yeah. And look at the singer.
Oh, totally. He's got the London leather boy look going.
I mean, but I honestly, I just found out about this year.
Okay.
A guy named Rui Martins. Rui from Portugal sent me this.
Rui.
And I love it. And they're one of his favorite bands. I had just never given him a chance.
And Matt Axeman, I don't know if they're paying, tipping the hat to Michael Schenker or not. But.
I wouldn't doubt it. Because you've got that guitar sound on here too. And then it's on the Mausoleum label.
Which was kind of a lesser known metal label.
This one, and it's very highly collectible these days. Anything on that label. But they were a Belgium label, right? As I believe.
I'm trying to think of who else was on them.
There was a ton of stuff. Like we'll get off on rabbit trails if I try to remember that. But and the singer's name, Uli.
Is it really?
Yep.
Uli Dreyer.
Yep. Yeah.
But it's Uli with 2 L's. So maybe is it? Maybe they should put an umlaut over the L.
I don't know. Anyhow, I like this band. Thank you, Rui, for hooking me up with that.
All right. Here's a band. I love this band, and I love them because I discovered them via their demo. Bay Area metal prior to Metallica totally changing the game, but just prior, because I think they got lost in the mix. LAAZ ROCKIT, this is their debut album, City's Gonna Burn.
Yep.
It's got 2 of the songs that were on the, what was the name of the demo?
I'm trying to think of it as you were saying it. I can picture it in my head, but I can't remember
Right
it.
here, hold this.
Anyhow, well, I think one of the things that hurt this band's a little bit.
Here we go. Prelude to Death.
That's it.
And it came out, I think, the year prior. That was one of the covers. There's another cover. There were 2 versions of the demo. This is the one I knew. My buddy Bill Burnett had this on cassette, and we used to listen to it all the time, and I just loved it.
So, let me know if you agree with this. Do you think that their name hurt them a little bit? Because their name sounds so pop metalish.
Yeah, I mean, they chose to spell it Rockit, R-O-C-K-I-T, like rock it.
Yeah.
I think they would have done better with just spelling Rockit the way it was supposed to be spelled.
Yeah.
But they were coming from the earlier school of metal. They were still old school. They were very Priest.
Mm-hmm. And they weren't poppy at all.
Not at all. They're very much like a power metal.
Power metal. Yeah. Again, like the Metal Church or the Hyrax. the Heretic.
I mean, there's the Prelude to Death, staring down into the valley. It's just this whole poem about war, and it just goes into these really heavy riffs. And we've got the Pyro Squad here, the little guys that are blowing up the city. That was their mascot at the time, and they kind of got lost in the shuffle too. I mean, again, Kill 'Em All just came out just the year before. It's almost like, hey, this isn't fair.
Yeah.
We just got here, and then these guys changed the whole game. Yep. So great band that just kind of got lost in the mix.
These guys changed their style.
Totally. They had 2 albums. This one and the next one, No Stranger to Danger, were very
power metalish, and then from there on, thrash.
I loved the first
speed metal,
couple,
whatever you want to call it.
And the demo. I lost track of them once they started doing the thrash.
And then they also have an album out under the name GAK, G-A-K.
Yeah, what is that?
It's a thrash metal album. I don't know why they changed their name. It was the 90s.
Same guys?
Same guys. I'm assuming that they just...
Metal got very confused in the 90s.
That's what I can think about it.
A lot of areas.
Anyhow.
LAAZ ROCKIT, I love them. If you can find the demo, you can actually, it's a bonus track on one of their other albums, which I think, this is where I got it. Scott sent me files of the, it's like a hidden track on the...
Yeah, one of the bootleg CDs they have of them.
It's a hidden track after the song Shit's Ugly.
Something like that, yeah.
And I don't remember what album that is, but...
What's the second album called?
It's No Stranger to Danger.
Yeah, it's on the No Stranger to Danger bootleg.
I've got both of them, just the CDR, actually. You made them for me.
Yeah, I've got a, yes, I'm working it. Yeah. But yeah, there's I have a bootleg that's an actual silver press bootleg. It's on there. Oh, okay, we're getting off track.
Cool band.
This is the first album by the triple guitar threat of Leatherwolf.
Oh, 3 guitars?
3 guitar players. Their vocalist, Mike Oliveira.
I know that name.
Was also a guitar player, so they had that Molly Hatchet / Leonard Skinner 3 guitar thing going on.
But did they have a southern rock twang in there?
Not at all. Right. Totally. Again, this is one of those ones that was pre-thrash. Would fit really nicely into that U.S. power metal sound.
Okay.
But they had melody. They were heavy. They had that, you know, priest-inspired sound, but they had melody as well.
I remember Chris Alenek had this album. I was interested in it, but I just never really got a chance to hear it.
And I'm pretty sure it was originally, I don't know, mine says Endangered Species. I've seen copies that are just called Leatherwolf without the Endangered Species. So, and this is a re-release on Heavy Metal America.
But it is the debut.
But it is a debut, and it was originally just called Leatherwolf. They didn't have the, I think Endangered Species was added on later pressings.
It looks
and
like,
this is a later pressing.
Looks like the coloring was changed too.
This is an 85 pressing on Heavy Metal America.
Okay.
So, anyhow,
Leatherwolf.
Leatherwolf.
They went on to make a few more albums.
Quite a few more albums. Okay. They made they made 2 more albums in the 80s, then they kind of jacked around a little bit. They did a reunion record and with a different singer, and then they re-recorded. Then they re-recorded that they recorded that album with the original singer. Anyhow,
where's the band from originally?
I can't remember. I don't know why I'm thinking California, but I could be wrong. I don't remember.
Huntington Beach. Yep.
Is that what it says?
That's their fan club.
Oh yeah. Address. There you go. So I was right, in California. Got a little story about these guys. I was talking to the guitar player from the Musketeers, and they were out touring the country, and I think they were touring Barren Cross, the Musketeers and Barren, and they just happened to cross paths with Leatherwolf, who were also touring the country around the same time.
Oh.
And of course, now Barren Cross and the Musketeers were Christian bands, so they were touring the country, but rather than staying at crappy hotels, they were actually staying at people's homes, and these people were feeding them and stuff like that. And they ran into Leatherwolf, and Leatherwolf were, you know, unknown as well and touring around. And he said these guys were starving. And he goes, they were living on beef jerky and stuff like that because they just. Wow. He said they play these dives and then they'd have to sleep in these, you know, moth-ridden, nasty hotels, and they just had no food. He says it was such a big difference
because they had no friends.
It was such a big difference. He said he felt bad for them.